we've been coming back together closer and closer and more often, all the way the Christmas pudding shows we've been doing live with Alice, and we recorded songs on several of Alice's solo albums. When I put out my book, we did a book signing, and the band came back together, and then that was filmed, and then album released that Bob Ezrin produced. So all these things, little by
The
little,
Hall
and
of Fame.
I'm sorry.
The Hall
Well,
of
yeah,
Fame, yeah.
of course, inducted into the Hall of
That
Fame
was
helped.
quite a
So
bit.
all of these things, but then Michael has his studio in Phoenix, and when Neal would be out there, they'd get together, and when Alice would be in town there, he would join them, and they started coming up with a lot of songs that they were excited about, and then I think that was the final straw that I got the call from Bob Ezrin and Alice saying, "Hey, you want to do an
We
album?"
need you.
Yeah, so
And
I flew out there and we just Michael, Neal, Alice, and I were in the studio with an engineer, and we came up with Black Mamba, Wild Ones, Intergalactic Vagabond Blues, and some
Bloody
other tunes.
Screams.
And it wasn't like us trying to get anything back. It was just already still there.
So the album is it's a throwback to the 70s, and I guess it really stands to prove that everything old is new again. The energy, the passion, the sound that you guys make together is still just as great today as it was back in the early 70s. How do you explain that?
Absolutely.
Well,
Devastating.
we love music, and we've, over the years, we've all improved, our abilities, capabilities of playing music and writing music, and also just functioning in the studio together. Because we know exactly if somebody says, "Oh, what's the tempo on this?" We all know Neal's the guy to go to for that. So everybody has all of their opinions. We're all right in the same room together when we recorded this. And, I know what Michael's going to do. At this point, we hardly even have to look at each other to know what the other guy's going to do.
I bet you've
But
been
we
like
love playing
family.
together.
You've been like family
Love
all the
playing.
years, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing. So what was the writing process like on this album? Did you all put in together, or did you go away and do separate stuff and bring it to the rest of the band?
Everybody had ideas. We had about 70 songs to choose from. And, and we never really, before we went in the studio, we didn't really uh, determine which songs we were going to actually focus on. We went in the studio and started one song after the other, and then we'd go down a rabbit hole here and we'd take a left turn there, and we just followed the creative energy. And 10 days later, we walked out, and the following day, when the dust settled, I couldn't have named the songs that we recorded. That's
Yeah,
how fast and furious it was.
exactly.
So it's so that the whole process and that whole synergy that you guys share comes as easily today as it did 50 years ago.
We're kind of like on cruise control in your car. You just hit it and you're gone, and that's the way we just, fell back onto our roots. And those were working hard, focusing, writing. And it, this is the culmination of that. We didn't have to adjust anything. We did have to adjust the fact that we lost Glenn, and that shows up in the album. Dennis can tell you about what happened to you. He had this cassette he carried around like the Bible. Tell him, Dan.
Yeah, like the Holy Grail. I kept
Yeah,
it.
the Holy
I
Grail.
had
There you
this little cassette that I had made late at night, like the wee hours at Gillespie Estate in Greenwich, Connecticut, the band house. And Glenn had this riff. And so I went down, fired up my bass, and we were jamming on this riff. And I had a cassette machine going. And all these years, I've had that riff, and I've always wanted to finish the song for Glenn. But now with today's technology, you can do so much stuff with it. Basically, all we wanted to do is get rid of some of the background noise and clean it up. And then Bob Ezrin was all excited about it, so he did that. And then he added a click track to it. So when we were in the studio on the spot, we all wrote a song that we thought Glenn would have wanted that song to become. So his guitar playing is on it. It's called "What Happened to You," and it turned out to be one of the better songs on the album, I think.
Would you say
Yeah,
that was your favorite?
there's several.
It, whenever I'm listening to it, I think it's my favorite, but that seems to happen with every song on this album.
You're pretty
And
proud of
then
it,
Dennis
Dennis,
had
right?
this song called Green Grotto that I guess you and Alice reworked it, and it's about Glenn. It's turned out to be What a Sid, and it's a great song. I played some keyboards on it, and it just seemed like they're just happened.
A
It's
throwback to Blue Turk.
Blue
It's like
Turk. Yeah, there you
a
go.
finger snapping beatnik kind of pseudo jazz that we
Yeah,
used to do just for the fun of it, warming up before rehearsal. We'd do these, hey, cool, man. And so Blue Turk actually got recorded, one of those. And then I wrote Green Grotto. But then Alice took the melody and everything and the arrangement and everything that we had recorded. And Alice changed the lyrics to be about Glenn. So, what a Sid is something that Glenn said ever since I've known him. If somebody spilled their drink at the table, he'd go, "Oh, what a Sid." So that's a Glen Buxton, and then "See You on the Other Side" is the tearjerker one that
oh yeah.
Neal showed it to me when he had just started working on it, and then I jumped in and we worked on that together. And the production is amazing. But like Neal likes to point out, Glenn always said, "We don't do sappy girl songs." Glenn never wanted to record a ballad, so this is a ballad, but we had performed it at the Whiskey A Go Go during a Glen Buxton Memorial Weekend way back a long time ago. It was Joe Bishard of Blue Oyster Cult fame and Neal and I. We had a band together, and we wrote that song specifically for that event, and we played it live, and there were grown men crying. I am not kidding.
I think I was one of them.
How
It isn't.
amazing. Well,
It is.
the album certainly goes to show that experience counts, doesn't it? That you can actually produce something like this in record time, and it sounds awesome. It has that 70s feel, as we've already talked about, and it's bound to attract not only hard-edged Alice Cooper fans, but a whole new generation of rock and roll fans that perhaps missed out on the Alice Cooper days. Would you agree that the 70s, I mean, apart from this album, of course, but the 70s was the best time for music?
Oh yeah, no,
Well,
no,
it was
no
big.
doubt about
We were on the cover of Forbes magazine as the biggest grossing tour in 1973 over the Stones and Led Zeppelin. So, yeah, that was a good year for us.
but also music in general. I mean, there's so many good groups, so much good music. It's probably like our parents' heyday with the big bands that happened for them after World War II. It's just the whole country embraced it, and so did we.
I bet you never
Uh,
thought you'd be still doing it 50 something years later, did you?
Oh,
no, we didn't. No, except we're lifers,
yeah,
I, and we've been around the block, and we have a lot of, especially musicians that respect us. So we've gotten to work with the best producers, the best engineers, and when I go to parties and stuff, I end up jamming with some of the best musicians around. New York City area, go to a Maypang party, and you're on stage, and you can't believe who else is playing and how great it sounds. So
yes.
we're lucky, and that's one of the best things about us being us,
Yeah,
that we
right.
have this creative kindred spirits always are hovering around.
So
We're in
given
for the
that,
long haul.
yeah, you certainly have been in for the long haul and hopefully with a lot more to come from you. But Dennis, given what you've just said, what advice would you give to young musicians today? I mean, you've seen the music industry change so much. You're in a very enviable position. But for guys trying to break into it and make music today, would you advise them to go forward or to get out?
Well, I would say, oh, always go forward. I mean, I've done these things where I spoke at music colleges to a room full of starry-eyed kids. What are you going to do? Tell them, oh, you know, you, it's going to keep going as long as creative energy exists, and they will find a way. So, no, no discouraging words for me. I would say listen to seasoned pros' advice, but be ready to throw it out the window because if
Mm.
you follow all the rules, you're not going to come up with anything new.
Right. And practice, practice, and then practice some more. Can't hurt.
I love
It
it.
keeps
Love
you
it.
young.
Well, you're living proof of that, guys, and I thank you so much for chatting with me today. Congratulations on this album. Hopefully, we'll see many more Alice Cooper original band albums still to come because there are new generations that are just waiting to get a hold of your stuff. Well done, you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Sandy.
Sandy.